So now we're going to do the same thing that we did with the 220 with the 320. Create a new orientation for our grit marks. It's really nice when you finish the third one up, the third section up, with the last bit of that sanding strip, but sometimes it doesn't work that way and you've got to get a brand new one and only use a little bit of it, and then probably just throw it away. So now we're going to go up to 400, and this will be the last grit that I'll do. Some people go up to, I don't know, 800, 1,000, 6,000. Just depends what kind of knife you're going to make. If you're going to make a real nice fancy display piece, yeah, probably go up that high. But for just a user, I like about 400 hand sanding, and then 320 to 400 maroon Scotch-Brite pad which we'll use to even the lines out, and then a light gray 800 grit Scotch-Brite after we etch, to sort of make it look nice, and I find that that's a nice finish for a user. Otherwise, if you bring it up to 6,000 grit or something else ridiculous, and you get one scratch on there, it's gonna show up pretty well. Especially if you have a dark etched finish, then it's gonna look like that scratch almost glows in the dark. So I've got one little scratch up here on the very top of the spine. It's kind of ambiguous as if it's on this flat or on this ricasso. So I'm just going to pay a little bit of attention to that, figure that out and get that out, either now or when we touch up here. You don't want to forget about it. So I'm going to do the plunge next, just so I can get that one grit line out. Now you might have noticed I'm using water. I'm not using water. I like to do the final grit dry so that nothing's rusting and I don't have to re-hand sand stuff. So it's also a good idea to clean up whatever water might be on this piece of wood here. Here I am just trying to get that grit mark out. Seems like this is a better way to approach it. So there's also another way if you want this line to appear to come down more. If you did like I did on the grinder and it just comes up a little bit kind of short, you can just bring this down, well maybe not that far, but you can just bring it down a little more and flatten that up a little bit. At this point, and especially after the Scotch-Brite, this part will be, kind of faded and rounded over, so it's not critical. I don't know. You know what I mean. I think I've just about got it out. There we go. Now I'll just finish with the rest of the ricasso here. At this point, you want your grit lines to be as straight with the blade as possible. The better you do that now, the easier it's going to be with the Scotch-Brite to get them all lined up. It does take quite a bit longer on the ricasso, doing it this direction instead of like we were doing before. But like I keep saying, just be patient. I think I've just about got it. I should have mentioned earlier, this is mostly soft steel. Our hardened steel only comes to here like this. So this area too is where you can get that rolled over edge. So I forgot to hit it. Well, we didn't even do it with the 220. So 400 is still a fairly aggressive grit. I'm just going to focus on this area a little more, just to make sure, like on the rest of our blade, that we don't get that problem come up later. Seem to be really good at putting fish hooks around this area today. That results in, when you go back up on a stroke, you don't stop perfectly. You kind of like this. It's an exaggerated motion, but it's enough to put those in there. If you could stop and do a return stroke perfectly, it would never be a problem, but you can't do that. There. So I'm going to hope that that's good. And I've got this area enough, so I'm just going to do the tip. Putting more fish hooks in on my tip. Lovely. Now, still be careful. This may not be sharpened, but if you make an edge like I do, if you grind it as thin as I do, you still can cut yourself. And I can feel it's pretty thin, which is how I like it. I doubt you can see the quench line, but I can, and it's I'm pretty happy with it. It's simple, but it's nice. I like it. Okay, it looked like I got them all out, but I can barely see in the right light. There's a little bit more. Try and keep them as straight as you can. I know it's hard, but you can still try. All right, so now I've got a nice straight grit line here, but guess what? That's not going to help us because we've got fish hooks here and fish hooks here, and on the Scotch-Brite pad, those are the two hardest areas to get out fish hooks. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to these areas and bring our fish hooks back towards the center. They're inevitable. You're going to have them doing it this way, and so we're just going to put them where we can get them out easier. And this is where you really want your lines to be nice and straight, because in these areas, it's however straight you have them now is probably however straight they're going to be, unless you are really patient with your Scotch-Brite. Make sure your plunge is nice and clean, because this is about how it's going to be. There. And then do the same with the tip. The tip's a little harder. You get fish hooks at the very end. That's not what we want. Okay, well, we're just gonna deal with it.